Hello and welcome to this episode of For Your Journey. On today's episode, we're going to explore a phrase that came out, actually it's kind of a whole theme. In August, the theme of the Divine Services is We the Church, and it kind of breaks down the different phrases of Acts 2:42 about, we proclaim and we care, and we break bread was kind of the one in the middle of the month. And that one, that service expanded on the effects of the sacraments. And we just wanted to dive deeper into that because on our journey, which is kind of our namesake of our program here, like on the journey, sacraments are a part of that. And we wanted to just go deeper into that and get your thoughts.
I think it was a really great theme for the service to let us look more closely at the three sacraments, because oftentimes we all that have been in the church have been baptized, we've been sealed, we take communion normally, regularly, every Sunday. And things can be buried like, okay, I was baptized, like, so what? But this baptism should have an effect on us. The Holy Sealing should have an ongoing effect, just like the Holy Communion should have an ongoing effect on us. And that's really what the theme of the service was, the belief in Jesus Christ, that he died for us and that he is man and God together. And out of him, out of his sacrificial death, opened salvation. And we experience that in these three sacraments. That's how we come close to the Lord. So, for instance, with Holy Baptism, we become part of the body of Christ. And the Lord draws us to a nearness that we started remote when we were born. And then when we are baptized, we come close to him. So the effect of that is I belong. I feel, somebody wrote me, one of the priests wrote me that and said, I had other thoughts about this. And he said that gives me a great feeling. I belong to something. I belong to Christ, and I belong to the assembly of Christians. I mean, that's a club that's over 1 billion people in this world and billions already in eternity. I belong to something, and the Lord's trying to show you, you belong to me. That's a great effect.
Yeah, and I think something that you also brought some clarity to was this fact about inherited sins. We've kind of heard that in the past too, and you said that that's not really a thing. You know, we have, maybe as all humans, we've inherited the effect of original sin, the original fall into sin in the Garden of Eden, but sins going from generation to generation to generation, that's not necessarily a thing.
We inherit the dispositions of our parents and ancestors. And that means we have to struggle ourselves individually with it, just like they did. But the sin that they did does not come to another generation. It's simply this disposition of a certain way that maybe they had, and that we have to struggle with it. And the Lord looks at us individually as he looked at them. And each one has to work through that themselves. But again, close to God. Original sin is washed away, this farness from God, remoteness from God. And it's very nice that he wants to strengthen us then even with the communion. The communion also has to have effects.
And so we talked about baptism, and then with sealing, the effects of holy sealing.
Well, the effects of holy sealing is that we have this, we share the life of God. He shares that with us and his spirit with us. And that's a certain power that lives inside of us. And it also awakens gifts that we have. And the Lord wants these gifts to work in the body. It's just like Paul made this wonderful metaphor of the body. And in our body, we have all different things, and they all are supposed to work. And when they all work, we say that's wellness, that's healthy. And when they don't work, then we say something's wrong and we have to do something to do it. And you can imagine, now we're in the body of Christ, and God has put these gifts in those that he loves and has given his spirit to. And now he's expecting the effect of that to be that we contribute what we should do with these gifts.
And yeah, that too is, like you mentioned, is an ongoing effect. That it doesn't just have an effect in the moment whenever I was baptized or whenever I was sealed, because those sacraments only happen once, whereas communion happens repeatedly. All of them have effects all the time, not just in the moment at the altar when it happened.
Exactly. And that's what, and it only has the effect when we think about it and we allow that to unfold inside of us. I think that's the important thing, this unfolding of the sacraments inside of me, that I give time for that and some thought to that. That's why it's so important for the communion, that we prepare for that even before the service, and that we allow that a feeling of Christ's sacrifice to unfold inside of us. That means that when I worthily or try to worthily take communion, how can I then right away judge someone or right away become angered at someone when I recognize Jesus just forgave me and he loved me and he gave me his body and blood. He gave me his life. That has to change me a little bit. Not to say that bad things don't come to our thoughts and our heart afterwards, somewhere along the line, but there has to be we want to retain this feeling. I just participated in the sacrificed life of Jesus Christ. And I got to do something about that. I can't stay the same way I am in my normal or my bad ideas, my bad thinking.
Yeah. And that's why we need the sacraments. That's why we need communion. We often hear sometimes in service and preparation for communion that it's the strength to endure, the strength to overcome, to fight that battle within ourselves.
Well, it's Christ's victory.
Mm-hmm.
He was victorious, and so he said, "You can also be victorious. I share my life with you, that you can be victorious." And
Mm-hmm.
that's why all of us should have a longing to have communion again. That when the opportunity opens now, after
Mm-hmm.
this pandemic, that we can get in good order, we need to come back to church again, not only to hear the divine word together as a congregation, but we want to have communion together.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes then a great effect on us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for expanding on the sacraments, and thank you for joining us on this episode of For Your Journey. If you have any suggested questions or topics for future discussion, you can find us on Facebook or Twitter. And this has been For Your Journey.